Tiffany, welcome back.
Hi.
How have you been doing?
Been okay lately.
Okay. How has this last week been for you since our last session?
Since our last session, I can somewhat get through my day a little better, or last week has been really good. I mean, according to our last session, it's been kind of okay since I've learned or talked out some things. So,
Okay. Well, that's really good to hear that you're progressing.
yes.
Are there any specific things you'd like to talk about in our session today?
Yes, just about school.
Okay.
Or not only school, but school is a factor, but just, other things in life. It's been kind of a stressor for me. Like lately it's been kind of hard to balance school and church and just the other activities of life because I just recently found out something about myself, which is I can't read, or like not necessarily can't read, but I can read, I just can't read fast.
Okay.
And so my attention span is like really short. And so actually making the effort this year to read for classes, and then you have multiple classes you have to read for, it's been hard trying to, I guess, keep up on top of the work and trying to catch up on work and having to do, reading, which is very hard for me.
Right, and I understand definitely at the college level there is a lot of reading and a lot of classes. And about how long ago did you find this out about yourself?
Maybe like 2 months ago.
Okay, so it's very recent.
Very recent,
How have you
yes.
how have you been handling that?
Of course, like I find out, and it really stressed me out at
Mhm.
first. I'm like, oh God, like help me. And of course I prayed about it and I've made effort, so I'm proud of myself for making effort to do so. And I would try to, set times where I could read, and so I mean I have read some, not a complete textbook or not a complete chapter, but I have made effort to do so. And so I just kind of, instead of stressing myself over what I don't get done, kind of praise myself for what I have done.
Right, and that's a very good way to go about it, I think. So how is this affecting school and church? What is the struggle there?
Well, seeing that I would need more time to read
Mm-hmm.
certain subject matters and then also complete work for that. I go back and forth to Orlando on Wednesdays. I go down on Fridays and stay for the whole entire weekend. And trying to get work done down there is impossible. So just kind of like it's a time factor. Like I feel like I could use more time. And so when not school, but when church comes along, go every Wednesday back and forth. An hour to get there, an hour to get back, including the hours that it take for this church service. And so that's just kind of been the struggle, and sometimes I feel like I need to just take time off and, not go to church, even though I'm really against, I guess not being faithful in my church services. So that's really been a factor.
Okay, yeah. So just the struggle with knowing when to not go to church and when to spend more time, kind of the balancing your time with both is hard, and I completely understand that, especially when your faith means so much to you and you value church, but you also value school.
Mm-hmm.
You value them both a lot, and so I can understand where that would be a very big struggle and stressful, because you don't want to give one up for the other. You want to be able to have time for both of them.
Yeah.
So has the reading, has it affected your schoolwork, or are you still getting along pretty well with that?
It has affected one of my classes,
Okay.
Which is really bad because it requires reading for like the test that we take, and so I've actually failed 3 tests. Well, just found out, I thought I failed, but I got a D on the last test. But that's kind of like, I'm proud of that D, if that makes sense, because it's better than the 2 Fs I got previously. So, I mean, I'm still kind of struggling in that class. I haven't given up hope, which is, I guess, weird. You can get frustrated and flustered about it, but I'm like, okay, I'll just focus on my strong areas in the class. So make sure my papers are in, make sure I'm there on time, make sure all my homework is done. So I kind of like put more energy into other efforts in other part of the class that will help my grade versus the test that I've failed. So.
Okay. And so how is this also I know you're saying it's stressing you out. Do you have any other emotions inside that are just, are you angry towards this? How did you feel whenever you found it out?
Whenever I found it out, I was, it kind of just reminded me of my, relationship with God for some reason. Because I noticed that when I draw closer to the Lord, how He kind of shows me things about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh man, I'm drawing close, but then, oh no, I have this struggle now, and the Lord has shown me, and so I have to kind of come back. So almost, it feels like a setback, but then it's actually, I'm finding out stuff that I would have to fix along the way. So I kind of like correlated that with like school. So I'm like doing good in school, I'm happy about school, and then next thing I found out something about myself, and it's like, okay, I feel like a setback. Well, this is, the problem all along. So, I mean, as far as emotions, I know recently, I just went to the ER, like, I want to say it was on Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday night, I went to the ER.
So what happened for you?
Well, I felt like I was having heart palpitations, and so I went to the ER, and I didn't know where it was coming from. It felt like something was tugging at my chest. And so when I went, the doctor just told me that it sounded like I was having an anxiety reaction, which is something almost pretty much like stress. And so
Right.
I know my people ask me, what are you stressed about? I'm like, the school. I go to school, I work, so trying to balance work, school, church, all of those things together. So,
So just the stress from learning about this
yeah.
this new thing about yourself, and then still the stress from trying to balance time, and yeah, that's really scary. That would really scare me if that happened. How did you go about figuring out that something was wrong with your reading? Like, how did you go about the process of getting diagnosed, I guess, with this?
It really wasn't like a clinical diagnosis.
Okay.
It was just like, wow, like I realized my attention span is very short, and so like I'm reading and I'm all over the place, and I have to read sentences over and over and over again until I can get to the next sentence. And so it was just like, I don't know, that was just frustrating and kind of flustering. But that's kind of how I found out when I was trying to read, and I couldn't get past a certain page
Right.
in an hour. And I'm just sitting there trying to read, and I'm like, okay, so, I mean, especially I'm not, I guess, like, I'm not as fast of a reader as others could sit and just sit down and read.
Okay.
I just can't do that, like, my attention span would just.
So you just figured this out about yourself over time, just kind of observing yourself and how you do with your schoolwork and reading.
I can't, do this, I can't read them, like, I can read, it's just that, and I can probably read at a speedily pace, but it's just that the attention span is like.
Right. So as you're reading, with the attention span, you mean as you're reading, your just mind wanders to other things, kind of, and you can't stay focused, and then that makes it hard to then do your work that goes along with the reading or remember it for the test.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very hard struggle. All right. Well, this is a really good session today. Thank you so much for coming, and we can meet again next week.
Yes.
Okay.